Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to sit down and do a long trying new makeup with some little life updates. I have a new addition that I would like to share with you guys. So of course I will link everything that I used today down below in my description box. If you like trying new makeup videos and just long videos with me trying a bunch of new products, give this video a thumbs up. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into trying new makeup and a special new addition. So I've got you zoomed in and I want to start off with a lip balm. So this is from BabsBeauty and this is their lip reset mask. I need some hydration. This is not my preferred application just because you do have to use your finger. It seems like it's pretty thick and hydrating. I think they all have like different scents. This one is Cosmic Cherry and it has a nice tint to it. So I just wanted to add some hydration because it has been so dry here. But I also wanted to give my first impressions on the new Fleur body mist. So we have two. We have the berry cream and matcha milk. Let's start off with berry cream. Now this has notes of apple leaves, sweet cream, hibiscus flower, and strawberry. There's something in this that I don't love, and I think it's the hibiscus flower. If you've ever smelled a fragrance that almost has that floral that makes your nose kind of like tickle, that's what this has in there. So I definitely do get the berry. I get a little bit of the apple, which I like. I get maybe like a drop of the sweet cream, but there's something overpowering and almost a little bit like sneeze inducing or powdery from the hibiscus flower, which wasn't what I was anticipating. So this actually isn't going to be my pick, but I wanted to tell you about the matcha. So this is matcha milk. I'm not a matcha girly. I know some people are. I just don't personally, gravitate towards that. And I really don't know much about how it smells, but this has notes of matcha, macadamia milk, bergamot zest, and black tea. And when I smell this, this is definitely the one I prefer over berry cream. But even so, I'm not like totally wowed by either. I just want to apply this to see. Okay, so this definitely has like a milky, a little bit ambery, kind of musky vibe, but there is a little bit of, I don't want to say spice, but it has a tiny bit of that, and I think it's the black tea, but I would say it's more of a musky kind of skin scent that has that milky, maybe like a bubble tea sort of scent, and that black tea gives a little bit of zest. I like this one more just because I feel like it would work with really like any of my vanilla fragrances that I have. But again, I'm not like wowed by either. I think the packaging is really cute and I was really hoping to love these, but for me, they're just kind of okay. For eyeshadow, I have a really exciting palette. This is the new Byredo palette, and I purchased this quite a while ago from Chic Profile on Instagram. This looks so pretty. It looks perfect for wow. I was not expecting. Wow. Thankfully, nothing was damaged other than this little one was nicked. Holy crap. That just shocked me. And the Byredo eyeshadows are so fragile that I cannot believe those did not bust. That is not acceptable. The back of this, that's so bizarre because I have another Byredo palette and I've had no issues. Anyways, we're just going to move on. Before I get into swatching that and starting a look, I did want to thank one of my favorite companies that I've worked with many times and I wholeheartedly stand behind and believe in, which is MIDI Health. So thank you to MIDI Health for sponsoring this portion of today's video. I have been on a journey with my health. I would say the past couple years were really pivotal for me and I've had to advocate for myself. And And I know that it can be so frustrating if you just notice things are off, you feel like you're anxious, you have insomnia, you're just not feeling yourself and you're getting blown off. MIDI has been so helpful in helping me figure out what's going on with me, validating my experiences, and just getting me back on track so that I don't have day-to-day struggles. So MIDI is a virtual care clinic founded by women for women, and you can really tell. There's just an attention to detail, a compassion that you feel that can often be absent in normal, doctor settings. MIDI is also covered by insurance where available in all 50 states, and they offer something called the Age Well service that connects you with a clinician that specializes in women's health to go beyond normal labs. They do quarterly checks of hormones, thyroid, cholesterol, blood sugar, and inflammation. So there's actual data and facts to set a custom plan and targeted supplements for your needs specifically. They also do retesting and follow-ups to make tweaks and changes where needed based on data and not just guesswork. And I can't tell you what a breath of fresh air it is to actually be listened to and validated on things that I'm experiencing and feeling. Just last week, I went to my annual primary care doctor. When I had mentioned a little bit about perimenopause or hormone levels, I felt like I was dismissed, and pretty much his exact words were, "You're 37, you're too young for that," until I discussed that I actually am starting HRT. I've been on it, and the changes that I've seen have been dramatic. I am sleeping better. My anxiety has been more controlled than it's been in years, and the only change was HRT. So just highly recommend them. It's super convenient. Everything is virtual, and you can get in with a clinician very, very quickly. So you can book your AgeWell visit with the link at the top of my description box. I will also pin a comment with the link. Highly recommend it. If you feel like something's off and you don't know what it is, your labs are normal and you just kind of feel like you can't figure it out, highly recommend advocating for yourself and getting a second opinion and seeing if MIDI can help you, because they have truly done wonders for me. I recommend them to everyone. So that link will be at the top of my description box, but let's go ahead and start on an eye look. Okay, so this is the new Byredo palette. I'm gonna have to hold it very delicately. So in this palette, there are a lot of shimmers or different finishes. It looks like we really only have 2 mattes, and I picked up I think it's called the Bibliophia palette, and it was fabulous. It was my first Byredo purchase, so I immediately wanted this one because there's just a creaminess and ease of blending with this formula. Okay, so this is the entire palette swatched. So you have different finishes, but they just feel incredibly creamy. Like, it's hard to describe unless you actually touch them. They're so soft and like delicate, but just very, very creamy to the touch. Like, for instance, this shade right here, it's like if you swatch that, it's crazy intense. Same with like this one. They just smooth out to like this beautiful metallic, but then you have softer shades. This is like a pink kind of iridescent. So it's not a high metallic, but it has a sheen. And then you have your matte colors. There's only 2 mattes in this palette, but there's still like this creamy feel. So that's what makes this palette or this formula so special. And I do believe, the price tag, I get it if mine, hadn't broken. But I didn't set my lids. So I am thinking about which way I want to go. It is kind of a jumbled palette. For me, I would say it's probably not going to be like a standalone palette. It's more of like a special, I want to add in something really beautiful in like chrome. So I'm going to do a cohesive look today, but I probably would just reach into this more so for like a lid color or something like that. And I think I'm going to pick up the matte light brown. I'm trying not to drop that again because I actually would be devastated. It's very, very expensive. So I'm gonna use this on the outer corner of the eye of color payoff. I'm gonna have to grab her here in a minute and show her to you guys. We have a new addition and it's been pretty exciting. Kind of emotional, but again, I feel like I'm just doing so much better since my anxiety is more controlled. And I'm actually going to just smoke like a little bit above my natural crease here. I have to ask you guys if you guys are watching Love is Blind. Apparently it's the season or the newest season and it's based in Ohio and I am just screaming. I'm like, thank God I'm married. I just can't. The suitors or whatever, it's slim pickings, okay? That's what I'm seeing so far. It does feel like there's a lot of couples, which, you know, for the drama aspect is gonna be, I'm sure, fun to see, but some of the cringy things, I'm like, whoa, are these people serious? Like, it's a lot. But I feel like that's every season. It's just kind of a train wreck. You're like, why would people want to do this? I do not know, but it just started. So Ian and I were watching it last night and I was just like, we were laughing at some of the guys. I'm also watching Traitors. I'm obsessed. I am obsessed. I love that show, but this season's cast was immaculate and I'm just trying to see what's gonna happen next. It's been very, very entertaining though, especially if you're like a Housewife fan like I am, yeah, or Love Island fan. There's a lot of people that you'll recognize. So I figure it's time to introduce the new baby. She's probably like, why is it so bright? But this is our newest addition and her name is Kennedy. I kept the name because I really liked it and she is truly a little ferret. She's so tiny. She's 3 years old and she was retired from a breeding program because she's too small. So she is a hefty 4.5 pounds, literally tiny. Winnie was like 10 pounds. Winnie probably had some Pekingese in her just based on her coat and her nose and all those things. But Kennedy is super agile, very fast, and just kind of like bounces around the house like a little hummingbird. She is a doll baby, but she was too small because she had a litter and they had to do a C-section, which is just not safe, you know, to have in your breeding program. So she is now spoiled rotten. We've only had her for like a week now, but she is a snuggler. She loves to be in the bed. She loves to be held. She's a stage 5 clinger. Winnie was like more independent, I think just because she was not in the best, you know, place before we got her. So she was kind of independent and then she would love on you and she kind of reminded me of like a Persian cat. But Kennedy is a stage 5 clinger. Like she is like, I'm going with you everywhere. I will be in your filming room. She reminds me more of my first pom, Nala, just in the way that she behaves. But she is a doll. Ian's already obsessed with her. She's doing so well. And her and Millie are just hanging out. So this is our new little Stinky. She's very, very small. It's like hard to even show how small she is, but she is tiny, tiny, tiny little girl. So we love her and she's doing great. And I think it's just, you know, something that brings joy to our house. I was emotional initially just because, you know, it reminded me of like Winnie and, you know, just kind of comparing them. And then I was like, it's an emotional thing, but Winnie and Roscoe have been gone for, it's been months now. I think it's been like 4 or 5 months. It's been really hard. And I just love having a little dog and my Millie. So that is the new addition and we're very excited about it and we love her very much. So I just want to do like an announcement and then of course I will be sharing her like on my Instagram stories and things like that. And she'll probably be in my videos more often than any of my dogs just because she is like right here in the room. Like she is like my shadow and she demands to be held too. So that's the new addition. I'm just really excited about it. So she's gonna take a little nap on my lap, but let's get back in to the palette. So I'm trying to decide what color I want to use on the lid. I'm drawn to the kind of purples and the pink shades. So I think I'm gonna go into this color first. And I want to use my fingertip and just apply this in the center. And then kind of just blend around. I actually don't know if I like that. I'm thinking I'm going to go into the deepest like chocolate matte shade. Just kind of put this on the lash line. And then just kind of sweep up a little bit. She is on my lap, and so like my arms are hitting her, so I'm trying to like not disturb her, but also do what I need to do. So I'm actually gonna go into this like purpley shade and use this on my lid. That's pretty. Their shimmers are just like so intensely creamy. I'm gonna kind of fluff this up. Can go like back and sort of blend. And then I can go back into that really deep chocolatey shade just to soften a little bit. And then I wanna add a little bit more depth. So I am gonna try this shade up here. It's got some like shimmer in it, but it's kind of like a matte with the glitter. So I want to try that and see. So I'm just going to take a different brush and apply like right in the outer corner, pretty low. And then just go back in with that purple just to make it pop. And then I do think I'm gonna go into that pink iridescent. I just wanna try. I'm not sure how this will translate. If I like pop a little bit on the inner portion and then go back in with the purple, just so it's kind of like a gradient. So I think I'm gonna leave my lids here for now. I wanna get into the other makeup and then see if I wanna add something, but I'm gonna use the new Urban Decay Tube Job tubing mascara. So they sent this to me in PR. It has a really small wand. Interested to try this, although I don't have the best lashes. So I don't know if I'll add something like a cluster. I've been trying to not, just because it does irritate my eyes and I'm trying to get comfortable with just like my own lashes. But so first impression is this doesn't feel like a dry formula, but it has a nice glide to it. It's like a thicker wet formula where it's coating and like gliding. I'm not getting clumping, which is nice. It's building nice volume and length. So I don't know, we'll see. I always like to apply my mascaras, let them dry, and then recurl them. And that gives me the most lift. But this is what the mascara looks like. I don't really like to do more than just like 1 or 2 coats. I feel like this is sufficient. So I'm gonna just leave this there, and then we will come back and like recurl them. So next I want to move on to skin. I have some new products to try, but I wanted to hydrate with this Bioma Milky Toner. This is my go-to. This and the Revie Barrier Cream under makeup. This is more of like a lighter weight formula, and it just works so well. And then as I let that sit, let's swatch these. So they sent these over to me in PR. I have 2 different shades. This is called the Born This Way Super Glow. It says a multi-use complexion enhancer. So I have the Polished Petal in Vanilla Beam. So it has a wand type applicator, just like the Charlotte. So this one is the Polished Petal, which has more of like a pinky tone. And then we also have the Vanilla Beam, which is more like icy. So I kind of want to go with the icier one just because I want to see how much like highlight it gives. It feels pretty emollient when you touch it, but then as you rub it, it's not sticky, which is good. So on the skin, they're both gonna look relatively similar. I don't think that these have like any coverage to them, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury has that coverage aspect. So I'm just gonna apply this to the high points of my face. You could also apply this on top of your foundation. Usually that doesn't work for me because I do powder a lot. It has a nice glow to it and it doesn't look glittery. I think the little glitter particles that I see are from that eyeshadow, but it gives a nice hue and it feels, I would say, similar to the Charlotte Tilbury, but it does feel like it settles a little bit less emollient or a little bit less heavy. So if you have more of like an oily combo skin type, it might be better for you. So I'm gonna just start there. And then in terms of foundation, Lawless sent over some more of their Forget the Filler foundations. So I reviewed this a while ago and the shades were way off. I'm not sure if they came out with different shades or expanded, but I pulled the shade 2.5. So I'm just gonna shake this up. I remember enjoying this foundation, but the colors were just really off. So this is what 2.5 looks like, but I am going to add some of my LA Girl mixer because I am so fair right now. And then I think I will add maybe a little bit of the Too Faced in here just to give a little bit of glow because it's an enhancer, so you can kind of use it however you want. So I'm just gonna mix this stuff together. But to blend that out, Morphe sent over some of their new butter foundation brushes. So I'm gonna use this big one here. This is the M104. The Lawless foundation, I really like it, but they pull so like orange or warm, all of the shades. Like even mixing this together, you can just see how like yellow tone this is. I'm gonna switch to this foundation, the M108, because they have a few that they sent. This one has like that slanted, kind of like kabuki stipple sort of vibe. This one's a little bit like large and in charge. I feel like I would use that one for like my neck more so, or like body makeup. So this is what the Lawless foundation looks like. I feel like it has really good coverage. It is very thin. I do feel like it's not the most hydrating. So if you have, you know, dry skin, you may have to do more prep. So I am going to go in with my Say Dew Bronze because I don't have a new liquid bronzer, but I do have the new Say powder bronzers that I want to try. This is a really thin formula. It is one of my favorites and it is more warm. I have the color Swim, but I like it for adding some warmth to the skin. Next, I want to go in with these Natasha Denona blush duos. So she sent over this package. I am late to the game as per usual, but there's two different shades. So the first one is the High Blush in Nude Muse. This formula is really nice. It's a cream, but I would say that it's kind of like a smooth, I don't know, matte sort of formula. You can see like how smooth it is. It almost has like a cream to powder feel. So very, very pretty. And then this has like a highlighter or glowy blush to go with it. And then we have this fun shade called Lush Lila. So these initially came out and they were really, really nice, but I don't think that people were that in love with them only because all of the shades looked very similar. They all were like a coral pink. So the fact that she came out with some different colors, I think is a great idea. So I'm trying to decide which one I want to go with today. So I am going to start with this one. And I'm just going to use a clean BK 109. And start to apply. It has a really pretty kind of like nude peach tone. I'm not so much into the more glowy sides. I'll take a little bit on this brush. So it adds a little bit of glow, but I'm definitely more of like a matte blush type of gal. So this is the first color. I may add a little bit of the lilac just to see. So I'm gonna go into this one. It reminds me of the Glossier Billow, but maybe a little bit more pink, not quite as pastel. Yeah, I think that's pretty. I'm just gonna add a little bit here. And for concealer, I have the new Charlotte Tilbury concealer. So this is the Airbrush Flawless Crease Proof Long Wear Blur Concealer. Now this is supposed to be hydrating, full coverage with a matte finish and long wearing. So I have the shade 4.5, which is fair medium. I have not even swatched this or tried this. I know, ooh, is that gonna be too dark? It might be okay, just because I'm so fair right now. Hopefully this color will not be too dark. Definitely has a warm undertone. The paddle on this wand is kind of stiff, which is weird, but I will say the packaging looks really, really nice. Like it feels nice. I like the vibe of it. It gives Charlotte Tilbury, but it's clean. And her other concealer was like super illuminating and quite sticky and thick. So I'm interested to see how this blends out. So I'm just gonna take a BK Beauty. Is it an A506? Yeah, I always wanna say A504. Okay, so definitely pretty yellow. I would say that I'm probably a little fair for this right now. It almost has like that moussey formula. It's not thick in texture, but it has that like whipped kind of feel. It covered really well. The hydrating aspect, I'm gonna have to see like once I set it, if it gets clingy or flaky, because I do have really dry under eyes. So this is what the concealer looks like. I do feel like the coverage is really, really nice. I can't really tell if it's hydrating or not. I don't necessarily feel like it's like drying. I wanna see how it plays with powder. I was gonna use my L'Oreal because that's my favorite, but I feel like because I look so incredibly like yellow toned, I'm gonna go in with the She's Alive powder from Melt. This is more of like a pinky peach colored, kind of like a salmon color. So I feel like it might help offset how yellow I look. I do also really like this powder. It's very, very smoothing. I know they came out with a pink version in this powder. And I know they made this, I wanna say they made it permanent because it's, you know, so loved. So I went ahead and finished my brows and set my face. I did add a little bit of this pressed Huda Beauty in Pound Cake around my nose, and I'm gonna do it underneath once I finish the rest of my blush and bronzer. But I wanted to use one of these new Say bronzers. So these were just sent to me. These are the Super Suede Radiant bronzers. So I have Palermo, which is fair to light, and then also Amalfi, light to medium. So here are the swatches. They feel really smooth. So this is the light to medium and this is the fair to light. I'm gonna use the light to medium. The packaging is really simple, but let's see what this looks like. It's pretty powdery, but like hard pressed powder. It's kind of dusting all over. Oh, okay. Definitely a little bit more pigmented than I expected. Interesting, because it feels like so kind of soft. It doesn't seem to have, okay, is that too dark for me? Hold please. I was gonna say, it doesn't seem to have too much radiance. Like it's not enhancing texture, but that shade maybe a little dark for me, or it's kind of like deceiving because you don't think that a ton is gonna come off. Like when I dip my brush in, it just looks like this on my brush, and even if you just like pat it off, not much comes off, but then on the skin, it definitely has more of a punch. Glittery. Anytime I hear like radiant, that scares me, but when I'm looking at this like blended out, it's a very soft radiance. So I actually like that. I just think it might be a learning curve in terms of like what color to use. Maybe I need to do the lighter one, but I think it looks nice. I actually like how that feels. It's very, very thin and lightweight, so it doesn't feel like it's clinging to texture, which I was worried about. It's pretty. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of this Too Faced liner in my waterline. And then going back into that Natasha Denona blush, I'm gonna go into the matte side. I wanna just add a little bit. And then for highlighter, I am gonna use the Kosas. This is the gold shade. This one is a little bit strange. I like it, but it's not the most like flattering on texture, but I like it as an inner corner highlight a lot. So I'm going to use this Huda Beauty powder in Pound Cake just to kind of sharpen. And then I wanna move on to lips. So I have a couple new products I wanted to try, but I'm going to start with lining my lips with the Anastasia Cool Brown lip liner. I just got a call that maintenance guys are coming earlier than expected, which threw me off, so I have like 20 minutes to finish this video and do my thoughts. And you know, I move slow, so we're going to do the best we can. So I did pick up this Merit lipstick. I really love this formula. This is the lip blush, so it is more of a matte formula, and they came out with some new shades. So I got the shade Andy just because I love a pink lip. This formula is really, really like blurring. Kind of reminds me of the MAC Powder Haze. So I really like that color, but I don't like it with what we're wearing. I'm going to try something a little bit more muted. I'm actually gonna try this liquid lip from Dior. This is in the color 220. It's a little bit more like a nudie pink. And for gloss, I did also pick up this new Buxom Lilac Gloss in Dolly Light. This just looked really beautiful. I know lilac is in, and I love this type of like milky shade. I thought this would be pretty with the purple eyes. It has a pretty sheen to it. It is probably kind of competing with the glitter in that Dior. I still think it works. So I'm gonna curl my lashes. Oh wait, I have one more thing. Hold please. Okay, so now I need to dust away any of the powder that I have baking. And then I did want to try this new Morphe setting spray. So this is supposed to be sweat-proof, waterproof. It is an alcohol-free microfine mist that is non-drying. I don't know if it's just supposed to be like a long wear option because they do have that more like hydrating option. Ooh, it has a light, I don't know, like aquatic sort of like fresh scent. So let's go ahead and set the entire face. I do love a continuous mist. I think I maybe went a little hard. What kind of finish is it supposed to have? I'm not sure if it says. It just says that it's supposed to immediately refresh your skin with no sticky residue. I mean, I definitely feel like it gave me a glow and kind of like settled everything in, but I don't really feel like my texture looks bad. So I'm just gonna let this dry. I feel like it looks pretty nice. I mean, it definitely settled in the powdery look. Wow, I kind of think I like that, especially if you want like targeted, and it doesn't really feel sticky. If you wanted like targeted glow, kind of like the One Size, but in a continuous mister. All right guys, so here's my finished makeup look, trying out new products. I have to hurry because the contractors are gonna be here. So let's go over my thoughts. I feel like the Born This Way Super Glow is nice, but was it really needed? Probably not. We have so many on the market. As I said, it's similar to the Charlotte Tilbury, but I would say there's no tint in terms of like foundation, and it is a little bit lighter and less emollient. I do really like the Urban Decay Tube Job Mascara. I feel like my lashes look quite nice, even though I did one coat. So I want to try this more. I like how it doesn't get clumpy, and they seem to be staying nice and lifted. So I will update on that. Also really like the Charlotte Tilbury. I think that this is really nice if you want coverage. It doesn't feel heavy or sticky, which is also good. It has like that whipped sort of feel. So I want to continue to test this out, but I do feel like it looks quite smooth on the under eye, and it played with all of the other products well. Really impressed with this Say bronzer. This formula feels weightless, like truly weightless. It's so thin, and the radiance is done so well. I feel like I look healthy, but it's not giving glitter or, you know, particles that are dusting around. I really like this. I just have to figure out like what brush and what shade works for me. And then I do think this is a good launch from Natasha Denona. These are just much needed because this formula is so nice. It is just like a cream to powder, really blurring, beautiful shades, but she really did need some different tones. And I think this is a good addition. I would like to see even more. And then the Byredo palette, I'm happy that I have it because I do think that this is such a special formula. I do really like my look, even though it's quite simple. I wish there would have been more mattes in here, but overall I feel like this is just like a limited edition, like special palette. I'm gonna have to re-glue mine, but I'm a big fan of the formula. Just very, very creamy. Like I said, it's just a really special formula. So, and this is going to be one of those palettes that you basically buy because you're a collector or you really like metallics and shimmers and you want to kind of play around and dip into here when you want to add something fun. So I really love this formula, even though this isn't technically like a cohesive palette in my opinion. And then the Buxom, I already know I like this. I do feel like it's getting a little bit gunky with that Dior, but I think it is just the nature of the Dior because it can be a little bit tacky until you set it or like apply that lip gloss with it on. And then another standout for me has to be the Morphe spray. I feel like my skin just looks natural, healthy. It did not enhance my texture. I love the mister on it. Quite impressed with this one. So we'll see if it actually locks in my makeup, but my standouts from the day have to be, I guess there would be four. It would be the Say bronzer, the Charlotte concealer, the Urban Decay mascara, and then the Morphe setting spray, and then an honorary mention, even though I'm mad that it fell out, but the Byredo palette. So the contractors are pulling in right now. I have to go, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do not forget to check out MIDI and book your first Age Well visit with them. So I will have a link at the top of my description box. Let me know what products you want me to review next and what products you've been loving. Of course, I will link everything down below. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe. As always, thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.